All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Raw Intuition Health Show. It is great to be with you again on this Sunday. Always happy to see everybody showing up in the chat. Carl, JJ, what's up, everybody? Great to see you here. We've got an amazing show today, guys. Somebody that I have really enjoyed following online, especially on Instagram, and seeing all the things that our guest and her husband have been putting out and programs for people to help them really take control of their health and really get on a path that's going to lead them to, longevity and vitality. So super excited. We've got Dr. Susanna Alter joining us today. She is a naturopathic doctor. Let me pull up her introduction here. So Dr. Susanna received her doctorate in Naturopathic Medicine from the National University of Natural Medicine in Portland, Oregon. She received training in spiritual psychology through the University of Santa Monica in Santa Monica, California. She received additional training in holistic therapies, including homeopathy, through the New England School of Homeopathy, and holistic pelvic care through courses with Tami Kent. Dr. Susanna and her husband, Dr. Benjamin, founded Alter Health, where they help people using lifestyle medicine, nutritional therapy, mind-body medicine, botanical medicine, homeopathy, and spiritual healing as tools in their holistic approach to health. So I'm so excited to have Dr. Susanna joining us today. We're going to be talking about 6 ways to enhance or optimize your plant-based diet. All right. So it's easy to, just kind of jump into things. And I know people are really interested in the plant-based diet these days. Rightly so. And so we're going to try and give you guys some advice and some suggestions on how you can get the most out of that experience, and just some good foundational tips and suggestions for you. So let's get Dr. Susanna in here. What's up, Dr. Susanna? Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, and what a warm welcome. I'm very excited to be here.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your time. And so, guys, as always, stick around till the end. We're going to do a Q&A. And so have your questions ready for Dr. Susanna. And then, as always, we do a giveaway. And so I'm going to be giving away, as usual. You can pick out whatever of my books that you would like, any of the 3. You can get an ebook copy of that. I'll email that to you. And then also, Daily Green Boost has offered a free bottle of Daily Green Boost that I can give you a code to put into their website. And I'm super excited. Dr. Susanna actually has a green powder of her own that her and her husband have been creating and bringing to market here soon. And so, Dr. Susanna, do you want to share a little bit about that and the gift that we're offering people?
Sure. Yes, we'll be giving away a full bottle, a full month supply of our new product. It's called Green Force, and it is a greens powder.
Wow.
And the emphasis of this powder is to provide a greens powder that is completely free of any superfluous ingredients. It's just the straight, clean, nutrient-dense superfoods, 7 ingredients, and no fillers, no sweeteners, no watered down ingredients, just all the good, powerful stuff.
Amazing.
So we're excited to give that away.
Wow. Well, that is so generous of you. I'm so glad. And I'm excited myself to test that out. I love to test around with these green powders and things. So I'm super interested in that one. So I'm glad you guys are bringing that to market. So yeah, everybody out there, stick around and you're going to get a chance to get a bottle of that. So cool. All right, let's get into the show here. So as with every show, I like to let the guest share a little bit about themselves, maybe how you got into this lifestyle, how, maybe what made you want to become a naturopathic doctor, and that sort of stuff. So you want to just share with the audience a little bit about your story?
Sure, and thank you. Thank you. Yes. So I decided to become a naturopathic doctor because actually when I was in my early 20s, I developed some chronic symptoms that were quite mysterious. Went to several specialists, and no one was really able to get to the root cause of my chronic joint pain and digestive issues. And it wasn't until I visited a holistic practitioner, practicing more like functional medicine, until I was able to really get to that root cause of the symptoms and finally heal. And so that was complete inspiration for me to also get in the field so that I could support people in the same way. And through my healing journey, one of the biggest revelations was when I realized that what I was eating was one of the biggest culprits of, that was causing my illness. And I really saw the power of food as medicine. And while I didn't adopt a vegan diet or a plant-based diet before going to school, simply just cleaning up my diet and taking out the processed foods really helped me feel a lot better. Better enough to go back to school, but I
Mm.
still wasn't yet at, peak health by any means. But I, got all of my pre-med requirements, applied to school, got into school, and enjoyed naturopathic medical school. And it wasn't until my last year of school during cardiology class when I was really introduced to the power of the research behind whole food plant-based eating.
Mm.
And there was just like one sentence on one slide in one of the classes that showed Dr. Esselstyn's research really about the reversal of arterial plaquing in people who ate a whole food plant-based diet. And that really stuck with me. And I started to do some more research and realized, wow, there's like a lot of truth here in this way of eating and this lifestyle. And started really bringing that into my lifestyle, and then completely made the shift to plant-based eating in 2017. And I was amazed that any lingering symptoms I still had were completely resolved within a matter of a couple of months. And my energy just was through the roof. My skin cleared up. Everything was feeling so much better. And that was right around the time that I was graduating from school. And when it came time to create a practice, it seemed like I had no option but to focus my practice in whole food plant-based eating, to have nutrition really be a focus of how I support individuals in reversing disease. And so now that's what we do at Alter Health. We really focus on nutrition, but especially plant-based nutrition, and helping people to optimize their way of eating, which is why I love your topic so much, because that's what we're so passionate about. And yeah, really helping people accelerate the healing potential in their bodies with this foundational but such important nutrition. So that's my story.
I love it. That is amazing, and I'm so glad that you came across Dr. Esselstyn's work, because that was a big influence on me as well. Reading his book and just seeing some videos from him was pretty eye opening for me. So yeah, that's cool. All right. Well, thank you for sharing all that. And so do you want to start us off with just your first kind of suggestion, or, your tip for how to optimize anybody that, whether it's, whether they're new to the plant-based lifestyle, or they're, they've been doing it for a while and they just want to fine tune some things. Where would you start with that?
Okay, awesome. Well, so I was talking with you a little bit before we went live. Some of my points seem kind of basic, but that's really where the power is
Yeah.
in the basic foundational information. So this first point might seem to some of your listeners like, well, duh. But it's a good reminder. It's a good reminder. And the first point is to really emphasize and focus on the whole foods and to minimize as best as we can the consumption of the processed vegan foods, because there are plenty of vegan foods, plant-based foods on the market that are plant-based, but they have the addition of salt and added sweeteners and oils and things like that have that, these additional ingredients have been added to try to make the food more delicious. But what that does with our brain chemistry in relationship to that food is that it can essentially create an addiction kind of pattern towards more hyperpalatable foods. And once we kind of get in that quote unquote pleasure trap, it can be then hard to get out of the habit of eating these more slightly processed foods. When we focus on the whole foods, we are getting all the vitamins, minerals, fiber, phytonutrients, hydration, everything that really supports the body in healing and reversing disease. And so that's where the focus really should be to the best of our ability when especially we are trying to reverse any kind of chronic symptoms and feel our best. So it can be easier said than done because I do think it's kind of a slippery slope. It
Mhm.
might start with like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have just some clean Ezekiel bread. And then it's like the crackers with the salt. And then all of a sudden you're eating chips. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, what the heck? I'll have some Oreos, right?
Right.
Um, so it can be helpful to do like a taste bud reset every now and then where we really just go back to all whole foods. And there might be a short period of time where those foods taste a little like less exciting. But after 7 to 10 days, you will have a completely new set of taste buds, and those taste buds will be picking up on the natural deliciousness of all of the whole foods.
Yeah. Great place to start. And I almost put that as one of mine too. So
Uh-huh.
so yeah, I mean it's so true. Like it's so important to focus on whole foods. And for people like myself when I started, the taste buds change a lot. And so what might not you're maybe like thinking, it's kind of bland or it's not that amazing. Over time it all of a sudden becomes like the most delicious food that you've had, and you don't have to add any of the isolated, salt, sugar, oil, or any of the processed stuff to make your food taste incredible. So that's something that I experienced, and I've heard a lot of other people experience that as well.
Totally.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, great place to start. Let's see. Mine. All right, so this is my first one, and so there's so many things that so many things to choose between, just foundational keys for just stepping up the lifestyle a little bit. But I'm gonna say the first thing that I don't know if this would be number one, but this first one I'll bring is commit to a passion outside of the diet where you can focus and get some of maybe a more like dopamine hit or just more some satisfaction from life outside of the diet. Because I know what I've seen is a lot of people, and myself included, you only focus on the diet when you kind of first get into this, and you kind of expect that to just solve everything. But what I have found is that when you commit to a passion, outside of the diet, even though, I mean, the diet is foundational and super important, but if you can find something, whether it be exercise or whether it be just spending time in nature or whether it be writing or any sort of artistic work or anything like that, if you can, pick something to focus on while you're changing your diet, because I think it's going to reinforce the just the true the knowing that this is the true way of just totally transforming your life. Because for me personally, I have seen pretty much everything in my life. So from my golf game to my creativity and writing books and just creating different things, it has completely just taken a step, several steps up. So, from my athletic performance to, just my cognitive function and clarity of mind and all these things, has enhanced so greatly, from changing my diet to this, high water, high fiber, high electrolyte and antioxidant diet. It's just put all the other aspects of, my wellness and, everything, just enhanced it. So I've seen it in these other areas of my life, and that has just really confirmed to me that what I'm doing is a good thing. Like, it's just really benefiting me in so many ways. And so I think if you can, have a passion that you focus on, that will, again, I think you'll see improvements in whatever that is, if it's something that you've been doing your whole life or not. But I think having these things that we can just gain fulfillment from outside of the diet can be helpful long term, in so many ways. But yeah, I don't know if that makes sense, but that was the first thing I thought of.
I absolutely love that. I love that because I mean, oftentimes people get the feedback internally from feeling good that, hey, all right, I'm eating in a way that is nourishing my body and supporting me and thriving. But to also have that more like extrinsic, the feedback from whatever activity we're doing, where it might even be more measurable, right, than how we feel inside.
Yeah.
I love that in terms of just creating that long-term relationship with the diet, the sustainability of feeling intrinsically motivated to keep eating that way. So I love that.
Yeah. Thanks so much. Yeah, I'm always amazed at the differences I see, and even things, not even just like skill-based things, but just my appreciation for nature. Like I loved being in nature anyways, but since I just changed my diet and everything, just my awe, my how just in awe I am of being in nature and just the connection and just the awareness of everything around you. It just completely elevated for me in that sense too.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that your first tip was not focused on the food and nutrition, but
Yeah.
how we approach it.
Yeah. I think my next two are, so figured I'd throw one in there that wasn't.
Oh, great. I love it.
Yeah. All
Okay.
right. What do you got next for us?
This next one is probably the one I'm actually most passionate about.
Oh, awesome.
And it is to make sure that you eat enough.
Yes.
Yes, that you're fueling yourself with enough fuel. And, I don't love using the word calories, but that's the most scientific way we can talk about it, to make sure that you're giving your body the calories that it needs to create energy, to regenerate, to heal. And this is probably the biggest nutritional pitfall, or the most common nutritional pitfall I see people get stuck in. And I see this in the context of when I work one-on-one with people and I run nutritional analyses on them and see what they're actually eating day to day. That many times people will come to me because they feel like they're stalled in their healing process. They've kind of reached a plateau, like they felt great eating plant-based for a while. And then it's like, hey, where I feel like I'm kind of stuck here.
Mm.
And oftentimes what I find is that they're simply undernourishing themselves. They're not eating enough fuel. Even if they're eating all the right foods, they're not giving their bodies, or they're not giving their body enough to really maintain and support that healing process. And this is, I think, common. I think it is a common pitfall for people to fall into when transitioning to a plant-based diet, because the whole plant foods are less calorically dense, they're more nutrient dense, they're high in fiber and water. And so we can eat these foods and feel full because we filled up our stomach with these high fiber foods. However, we haven't gotten as much calories as, the foods we ate previously. And also just when we look at a plate of, our whole plant foods next to a full plate of processed or animal products, we might, be used to looking at a certain amount of food. And so when we serve ourselves the vegetables, we think, oh yeah, this is a good amount of food. Or, whether it's the grains or the beans or not just vegetables, but whatever plant foods, we serve ourselves what looks like enough food when really it's actually much fewer calories than our previous way of eating. And so some people think that as like a beneficial thing about a whole food plant-based diet, that, oh yeah, you feel fuller with fewer calories. Isn't that a good thing? However, when we get into a habit of underfueling, the metabolism will just adapt to that. If we're eating fewer calories, our metabolism will slow down. And that's not only an issue for people who have metabolically related goals, wanting to optimize their weight, but it's also an issue for people who are wanting to heal and reverse disease, because a slower metabolism means less energy production and less energy that can go towards the healing process. So I see this a lot. It actually happened to my husband, Dr. Ben. Before we got together, he was vegan for a few years and raw vegan for a few years too. And he got to a point where he felt tired and depleted. And I am so passionate about this point because I've seen people who get to a depleted state and then think, I must need something more than plants.
Mm.
And then they go back to eating, meat or whatever. And for Dr. Ben, he actually did take a break from his vegan lifestyle. He started drinking the bone broth and some meat, and he felt more energetic. But it wasn't because he needed the bone broth and the meat. He just needed more fuel in general. And those
Mm.
are, especially, meat is a very calorically dense food. So when people can really get to a place where they're eating enough, that's where, they can sustainably feel great and amazing on this lifestyle, and also won't set themselves up for other nutritional deficiencies as well. So the question is, what is enough? And that's going to be different for each individual based on their body size and activity level and everything like that. But I do like to just put it out there that for most people, eating at least around 2,000 calories generally will help you feel a lot better and energized and help to meet those energy needs. So I could keep talking on this topic, but I'm going to stop myself there.
Oh, I love that. And yeah, I'm so glad that that was one of your points. It is, I see that a lot too. People just not consuming enough. And like you said, yeah, it's so easy when, especially coming from a standard American diet where everything is so calorically rich, and then you go to a plant-based diet and yeah, it's a lot of water and fiber, and it looks like a lot, but it's not always the case. And Music Monster Man in the chat says, this is honestly me. I actually recently came to this realization and am actively trying to eat more now. So yeah, it's something that I think a lot of people experience, and so thank you for bringing more awareness to that and helping people realize that yeah, it is important to eat enough, and that's for various reasons, like you said. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Sweet. Right. And Extropian Transhuman asked if I do any rewilding. I try to. Yeah, I try to get out into nature and take my shoes off as much as I can, and try and stay away from synthetic chemicals and all that sort of stuff. So do you consider yourself to be a rewilder? I'm sure your whole lifestyle is pretty much, you don't even need to. So
I don't even know if I know what that term is, rewilding. Um, but yeah, we specifically moved out of our small town to a more natural setting because we wanted to like wake up and be surrounded by trees. So
Yes.
we're super blessed. We're in the middle of like a juniper pinyon forest here.
Oh, wow.
And love getting outside barefoot with our little daughter.
Yeah. I bet. That sounds amazing. Yeah, and from what I interpret rewilding to be is really just like getting back to nature, like you said, taking your shoes off, grounding and being around trees and things. Removing synthetic chemicals as much as possible and just that sort of stuff. So, yeah,
Wonderful. Then I would consider myself a rewilder.
for sure. For sure. All right, cool. Let's see. My next one is kind of is yours was a nice segue into this one a little bit. So mine, and I've said this many times, everybody's probably gonna roll their eyes because I sound like a broken record, but I'm gonna say focus on as many colors as you can in your diet. All right, colors I think are one of the most important things to get a variety of, at a fundamental level. Our genetic expression and metabolic pathways are nutrient dependent, right? So we have to have the right nutrients in the body in order to have a lot of these processes take place as they're supposed to. And so I think they say there's like 25,000 or more bioactive components in foods that help to uh, um, affect metabolic and cellular functioning. And so it's so important that we get these different polyphenols and carotenoids and different colors into the diet for good gut health because they're also prebiotics in nature. They feed the good gut bacteria. And also they are antioxidant. They reduce free radicals and reactive oxygen species in the body. And so that also reduces inflammation and just keeps everything running smoothly. And so getting the different colors into the diet is I think one of the critical things, and that's why in my 5-star salad concept I say to get at least 5 different colors into your salads each day. And kind of the little the picture I like to paint for people now that I'm still working on how to communicate it, but I like to think of it like you are now. So think of yourself as there's traffic engineers. They decide where to place the stoplights and the stop signs and how to arrange the roads and that sort of thing. And so when you bring in colors into your diet, the colors that you consume are similar to the different colors that we use in traffic on the roads, right? So we've got the orange caution cones and the red, green, and yellow stoplights and the red stop sign, and the emergency vehicles have their red, blue, white colors. So we use colors to dictate our direction on the roads, right? So if we didn't have those colors, there'd be all these accidents and things just wouldn't run smoothly. And so when you bring the different colors into your diet, it's like it's like you're setting up all the different traffic signaling mechanisms or systems in your body to allow your cellular function, your genetic expression, your metabolic pathways to turn on and turn off when they need to. And so you're directing the traffic of your genetic expression essentially with these colors that you're placing, the little stop signs and the little emergency vehicles and things. So that's what I kind of how I'm trying to help people get the importance of different colors in their diet because they really do affect our genetic expression. They affect which metabolic pathways are turned on and turned off and, that sort of thing. So yeah, get the reds, the blues, the whites, the browns, the purples, the oranges, yellow, all the different colors that you can get in, I think is going to really benefit you long term rather than just sticking to a few different colors in your diet, over time.
I love that. I love that. And it did. I'm glad that you brought that one up because it did. I wrote down like 5 points here because I was like, I don't know which ones I want to talk about yet. But
Yeah.
that covered one of mine, which was to
Okay.
focus on increasing diversity of plants
Nice.
in the diet. And you hit the point on, how important that is for digestive health, for exposing our microbiome to all these unique fibers. And yeah, I 100% agree. And I love the way that you articulated it with that metaphor.
Thank you. Yeah, and also people I don't think realize that another kind of metaphor is that I'm kind of working on still, but when we're trying to do our work, we need good lighting, and so the cells are the same way, and so people don't realize that food actually contains biophotons or light within them. And so when we consume the biophotons and in the different colors and things that essentially you can think of it as you're turning the lights on for everybody inside your body to be able to see what they're doing. I don't know, another little weird metaphor.
I like that. And similar to the light behind you, that's like neon and beautiful colors and
Yeah, exactly.
lighting
For
it
sure.
up in there. Oh, well, I love that one. I love
Thank
that
you.
one.
Thank you.
I'm trying to think which one of these, which ones do I want to focus on for my third and final. Um, I do think that I want to focus on, I'm between two of them right now. Um, let's go with this one. This one's more practical. And it's also more of like how we approach it mentally. And that is to focus on simplicity
Mm,
in terms of meal prep. Because I think it can be really common, especially when we're new to this lifestyle, to look up recipes and get overwhelmed with all these new cooking strategies, like whether it's water sauteing or making like plant-based whipped cream out of aquafaba. It's like
mm.
there's all these new words and strategies and things can get kind of overwhelming, right? And you might feel like, oh, I need to buy all these new cooking, appliances or food prep appliances. And really this way of eating is so simple and can be so simple, whether you're raw or whether you're not raw. Um, Really what I would recommend is focus on finding your staple recipes, things that you really enjoy and feel satisfied from, that are easy to prepare. And, recipes also, or not even recipes, but things, like smoothies that also have, you know, so much flexibility so that you can bring in all these different colors and foods like we're talking about. But for example, smoothies are a great option for people who do cook their plants and, have rice and beans and stuff. You really set yourself up for success when you prepare these foods in bulk. So you cook up like a big pot of whole grains, a big pot of beans, a big, cookie sheet of potatoes in the oven, or steam those potatoes in a big pot. And you can use those staple ingredients towards things like Buddha bowls or whatever, side dishes for whatever dishes you're making. And also just chopping up and prepping your fruits and vegetables ahead of time. Also, like for me with salads, this is controversial because I know if you cut up your veggies ahead of time, you do lose some of the nutrition due to oxidation. But I would say tune in with yourself and ask yourself the question, what is going to help me be most successful in sustaining this lifestyle if I have limited time to make my salads every day? And it is helpful to chop some veggies, ahead of time in kind of a bulk preparation way. Then, that's going to be what's most beneficial for your body, right? Versus not having that salad at all.
Yeah,
So at this point, I'm kind of also like, I'm kind of veering off to like food prep tips and stuff, but
it's great.
going back to my main point of keeping it simple and not feeling like you have to go above and beyond to create these gourmet recipes. Because yeah, I have seen kind of like food prep burnout. And the reality is with, any kind of whole food plant-based diet, when we commit to a whole food plant-based diet, we're essentially committing to preparing the large majority of food that we eat at home. And
Hmm.
so we need to do it in a way that is completely feasible. And like I said, sets ourselves up for success. So Ben and I in our kitchen, we have so many meals that are just so simple, just steamed veggies, potatoes, beans, maybe a homemade little dressing that I made. We have smoothies every single morning for breakfast. We do our best to switch up the different fruits and veggies in them, of course. But someone might look at what we eat and say, isn't that boring? Doesn't it get repetitive? But it really doesn't. It really doesn't, because it's so satiating. It helps us feel so good, so vibrant. And like you said too, the taste buds change. And man, there is like nothing more than I crave when I wake up in the morning than having my smoothie. So
Me too.
simplicity all the way.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. Exactly the same for me as well. The smoothie is what I have to have. Like it's just my go-to thing every morning. So, um, yeah, wow. I mean, there's so many things that you said where I couldn't agree more. And simplicity, yeah, super important. If it's too difficult, long term, most people aren't going to stick with that. If things are too complicated, and and I call it a high raw household, so we're not fully raw either. So yeah, I completely agree. Like the instant pot for us has made, if I didn't have the instant pot, I don't know that I would do much cooking. I would probably just stick more to my raw. But the instant pot makes it so easy, and we've always got beans and lentils and different things that we prepare as well. So yeah, couldn't agree more. If you can batch prepare things and make things simple yet still you know varied enough where it's enjoyable and you're getting in all the different varieties and colors and things, yeah, so cool, or so useful for helping people with knowing how to make this sustainable, because I think that's important. People do get a little too, especially when they first start. It's like everybody wants to make all the different recipes and things, and that can get, like you said, burn out. You can burn out from that sort of thing. So yeah, finding a good groove to settle into after that initial excitement of doing all the recipes and things. And I like to always comment or kind of use Tony Robbins' metaphor where, when he has people write their name with their normal hand, and then he has them write their name with their non-dominant hand, but he writes it, or they write it they only write every other letter. So even though they're writing half the letters, it takes them like 5 times as long, right?
Mm.
Because it's just something they're not used to doing. Even though they could do it in a shorter amount of time than writing their full name with their dominant hand, it just takes so long because they're not used to it. But over time, if they continue to do that for weeks or months, they're going to get so good at it, it's going to take them half the time probably than to write their full name with their dominant hand. So it's just a way of sharing that, at first it might seem like things take longer and it's more difficult to find meals that you like or to prepare the meals. But once you've been doing this for a while, it just becomes a way of life, and it comes like second nature to you. And so it goes much smoother. For me, I couldn't even, it's like night and day how much easier my lifestyle is now compared to what it was even back when I was just getting fast food and frozen pizzas and things. It still feels easier to do it this way than it was back then. So
Mm. Yeah, I hear you. I agree 100%.
yeah, cool. All right. Well, I will rattle off my last one, and I was wrong. It's actually not a food one. It's actually I'm going to say fine tune your screen time. All right. So the screen time is something I think that is an issue for probably most people, not everybody, but a lot of people I think are just distracted by their phones or their electronics. And that takes away from, being productive in their life or just like enjoying the present moment. And so I think that can just be, again, it's not a dietary thing, but it's an overall wellness thing where um, I would say if you can focus on, even just in the beginning, just focus on the first 2 hours, or if that's too much, the first hour of the day and the last hour of your day. All right. So if you can go the first hour of your day without looking at your phone or looking at screens, and then the last hour of your day without looking at screens, I think that will just be a big benefit in itself. Um, Especially before bedtime, right? So that's when if you're getting in that blue light, you'll be suppressing melatonin, your sleep won't be as good. If you do feel that you need to use it in the first 1 or 2 hours of the day, I would say make sure you're being intentional about it. Like for me, when I wake up, I try not to go right on my computer or my phone, but I'm currently writing a book, so I work on my book, right? And so I try not to go on like Instagram as much or other social media. So I try to be more intentional about it with the first couple hours of my day, and then the last 1 or 2 hours, I really try. And I'm always working on this. It's it's a back and forth thing for me. So, but I try and stay off it for the last 1 to 2 hours of the day, and give myself a rest from looking at screens. And you can use the night shift or the different apps that turn the blue light levels down, or you can use blue light glasses or things like that. But I think the fewer screens that you're looking at leading up to bedtime is really going to make a big difference in your sleep quality, but also then the subsequent day, where you'll likely have more energy, more mental focus, and probably make better decisions dietary wise. So there's a lot of different ways that it can affect us, not just with our sleep, but also our decision making and things like that. So definitely think about your screen time, your blue light diet, I guess you could say, and the amount of you know that sort of a thing that you're exposing yourself to.
Oh yeah, I love that you brought that in as a point. The connection between circadian rhythm and,
Yeah.
like you were saying, making better decisions in terms of how we take care of ourselves, the next day. It's huge. It's huge. To really optimize cortisol secretion when it should be secreted, not secreting cortisol later at night, and getting that perfect balance between melatonin and cortisol definitely plays an impact into that decision making, but also even our appetite, because our circadian rhythm or our appetite has a circadian rhythm as well. And so I love that you were thinking once again beyond the food and all these other helpful lifestyle practices.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, is that, I think, yeah, I was the last, like that was, you already did your third one, right? Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Wow. That was great. I loved it. All three of your points were spot on, and everybody in the comments section is loving it as well. So thank you for bringing the wisdom today for us. Really appreciate that. A lot of questions already being put in, so thank you everybody for being engaging and putting in your questions. Appreciate that. Before we get into the Q&A session, do you just want to share one more time? I don't remember if I apologize. I might have forgot to ask you to share where people can find you if they want to follow your work.
Oh yeah. Well, you can find me over at alter.health is our Instagram handle. And then our website is www.alter.health. So no .com, just .health. And yeah, you can head over there and check out our services and shoot us an email if you'd like to get in touch. Thank
Amazing.
you.
Yeah, of course. Okay, well, let's head over to the Q&A room, guys. Here we go in front of the blackboard. So put your questions in, and we would be happy to cover some of these. Let's go back here through the chat and see what we got. I know we did cover a couple of them earlier. Extropian Transhuman says, "Wow, great guest. I love the interviews." So there you go. Some more love. Let's
Oh,
see.
thank you.
All right. JJ says, pertaining to your point about making sure you're getting in enough food, enough energy. She said, I also had to increase my fruit intake and not only vegetables. I learned that last year. Cool.
Love
Let's
that.
see. Yeah. Extropian Transhuman is curious what your favorite raw or just vegan meal would be.
Oh man, that is a really hard question. Um, so hard. I would say like I love my smoothie in the morning. There's nothing else I would want to eat every day. My smoothie is that. And what I do for my smoothie, I'll just tell you what I put in my smoothie. I generally do 2 bananas. I do 2 cups of some other kind of fruit. Like mango and wild blueberries are 2 of my favorites. I put in like 3 handfuls of some leafy greens. And then I put in some raw ginger and raw turmeric
Mm.
and or fresh and a scoop of green powder and a teaspoon of amla powder. And that's kind of my go-to smoothie. And then I
Wow.
top it with some sliced bananas and sliced fresh fruit and even a little bit of like dried mulberries on top too. And it just is
Whoa.
I love it. I love it. So I would say that's my favorite.
Wow. That sounds incredible. Very similar to my smoothies as well.
Yeah?
Yeah,
What
yeah.
do you put in yours?
It's always I like to do I do more bananas in mine. I honestly do like 6 to 8 bananas in mine.
I love
So
it.
a lot of bananas. And then also like 2 cups of other fruits like berries or mango or honestly whatever Costco has for frozen fruits. And then I put in chia seeds, sometimes hemp seeds, some green powder lately, and then celery usually, and maybe some kale or collard greens or something. Um, Sometimes I'll throw in a Brazil nut. So yeah,
Gotta
and
get that
then
selenium.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So yeah,
That sounds very, very very similar to the smoothies we make
yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah. Can't beat it. I don't get sick of it. I've been doing it for like a decade, and it's still I love it every time.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Let's see. And thanks, guys, for putting in the question marks before the questions. It's much easier to pull those out. Let's see here. Uh, okay. Judith says, "What color? Oh, what color is a banana?" Hmm.
Oh, is that supposed to be a trick question?
It
Mm.
could be. Is it white or is it yellow?
Yeah, I would say it's whitish yellow.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like a cream. It's like a cream
Yes.
color. Yeah. There you go. So
I
yeah.
mean, if I think about what foods are truly white, um, I guess yeah, onions and cauliflower.
Uh huh.
What other foods come to mind for you? Dragon
Um.
fruit is white,
Yeah, dragon fruit, daikon radish.
daikon radish. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's actually quite a few, aren't there?
yeah, yeah. Garlic,
Garlic, the tips of
leek.
leeks and
Yeah,
scallions. Yeah.
right. Yeah. Burdock, extropian transhumans, turnips, radishes.
Turnips. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So
Lots
there's
of them.
for sure. Yep. Okay, let's see here. Music Monster Man says I could not be vegan without an Instant Pot. Yeah, it's an incredible tool. Um,
We use ours once a day at least.
yeah, same. So do we. It's usually going all the time. My partner Celine, she uses it more than I do, so she's like the Instant Pot expert. Not that it takes an expert to use it, but she's a pro at it.
I love it.
Yeah. Let's see. Extropian Transhuman says it's honestly extremely hard to be truly raw unless you grow your own food, is how I see it. The food at the store is often too unripe and undernourishing to rely on. Yeah, and I think that is a good case. That's a case to be made for including, as Dr. Susanna said, getting the variety in your diet. I know for me, like I just enjoy having a little bit of, whether it's steamed potatoes or cauliflower or lentils or beans in my salads. Now, I do prefer, I don't know your thoughts on this, Dr. Susanna, but when I eat when I eat cooked food, I always eat it with a salad. It just digests better for me. I don't know
Mhm.
if it's the same for you or.
Yeah, actually, every dinner we always have a side salad or starter salad, and for lunch, usually it's like a kind of a Buddha bowl thing that's
Oh
got
yeah,
leafy greens in there. So
nice.
I agree. I think part of it is due to the natural live enzymes in the raw food.
Yeah,
Um, and I think, yeah, having that balance generally is better for the digestion. So I agree.
cool for sure.
Yeah.
Judith says yellow or white. She says, "How about a cucumber, green or white?" I don't know if she's wanting us to answer these. Or, what is the difference between an orange, yellow, or red bell pepper?
I would love to hear your answer to this because
Sure.
my understanding is that it it is that the pepper is picked at different stages in its ripening process, and the red is the most ripe, and a green is less ripe. Is that correct? Will you fact check me?
I don't know if I'm the best person to fact check that. I know that green bell peppers, at least this is what I have been told and what I've read, is that green bell peppers are actually typically going to be a red bell pepper, but
Mhm,
it's an unripe red bell pepper. I think
mhm,
there are actually yellow. I know there's purple because when I used to have a garden, I grew purple bell peppers. So I think yellow is an actual bell pepper in itself that wouldn't later turn on to be red. I'm not 100% sure on that, um, but
makes
yeah,
sense.
I th- you're
Yeah.
you're probably right. For some of them, I don't know that it's all of them though. But yeah, I guess I would say, and I guess it depends on if that is if how many that's true for. But because like greens, initially I was gonna say, well, it would give you different polyphenols or carotenoids. In my From just my first guess, because like the yellow would give you more like lutein and zeaxanthin. The red would probably give you more lycopene, things like that. The purple would give you more anthocyanins. So when you get in the different colored peppers, but then you think about it, well, if it is really just a ripening thing, um, I think it still might change the different polyphenols you're getting. But like in greens, you only see the chlorophyll, right? You only see the green, even though there are carotenoids hidden underneath that chlorophyll color. So there's the
Right.
oranges and the reds, or the oranges at least in greens. So
Right.
yeah, I'm not 100% sure on the
Not
difference
either.
between each bell pepper.
It's a really good question. We'll have to research it.
Yeah, definitely. Good question. Good question, Judith. And there's been a couple comments saying how nice your skin is, which I agree. It looks, yeah, very very clear and very very nice skin.
Oh, thank you. Like I said,
Yes.
it wasn't always that way. I
Okay.
developed adult acne and when
Mm,
I was having all those gut issues.
sure.
And so thank you. And I completely 100% attribute it to plant-based lifestyle.
Very nice. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing all the different benefits we can get. Um, she said, Judith said, "Do you use makeup? And how about hair products?"
Oh, thanks for asking, Judith, because another topic I really, really love. Um, I do not wear makeup. And actually, it was 2013 that I committed to what's called the caveman regimen,
Mm,
where you actually don't even wash your face. So I
nice.
haven't washed my face in 12 years, except for a couple of times when I was in a wedding and then they put makeup on um, as a bridesmaid or whatever. And that also hugely supported skin health because it when you actually don't apply products on your face, what happens is that it allows your skin to regenerate the natural pH mantle,
Hmm.
which is essentially created by our skin secretions, sebum, and it creates an environment that's slightly acidic, which is ideal for the microbes that populate our skin, the beneficial microbes. And one of the reasons why, I think one of the contributing reasons or contributing factors to acne and other skin issues is constantly putting on alkaline products on the face that mess with that pH and essentially allow for opportunistic pathogenic bacteria to create acne and inflammation and things like that. So I don't put anything on my face. And for my hair, I also the reason why I committed to these body care regimens is because I was dealing with a lot of chronic health chronic health issues, and was trying to rid my life of any kind of chemical exposures. And so for hair care, for a really long time, I would use um, actually baking soda in
Hmm.
water. I would put about like a tablespoon of baking soda in a jar of water like this and use that as shampoo, the whole thing in a shower as shampoo. And the baking soda binds onto the grease. And uh, as you rinse, the grease will leave your hair. And then actually the conditioner is same thing, a full jar of water like this with about a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in it. And the apple cider vinegar actually helps to smooth the hair follicles and leaves your hair nice and shiny. And I was doing that for a very long time. Recently, I used to have very long hair, and I found that the baking soda wasn't quite enough to get all of the grease out. And so I switched to using like Dr. Bronner's very natural kind of soap instead for the shampoo, but still love my vinegar rinse at the end. So that was probably a longer answer than I should have
That's
said.
great.
I just kept going and going and going, but I really love talking about those two practices.
Nice. That's cool. And
Yes.
I can relate. I used to be a wannabe pretty boy, and I would use all like so I used to use like hairspray and all these gels and things when I had hair. I used to love to style my hair, and I would use like these all these chemical lotions and things. And so once I started to learn about that, I think that it was I'm not glad that I exposed myself to all that toxic, those chemicals and things, but um, for somehow that led me to realize that they did have chemicals in them that I didn't want to be exposed to, and so I started losing my hair anyway. So I don't have to worry about the hair thing, but yeah, it just like in that process, I was always because when I did start to lose my hair, I started looking at the ingredients in what I was putting on my scalp and things. So I guess, somehow it led me to really get passionate about synthetic chemicals and all these things. And so I didn't even realize I'm doing the caveman approach or whatever it was called.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't really wash my face either, other than, I'm in the shower and water gets on it, but that's about it. And yeah, I think it's great. My skin is also the best it's ever been. I used to also have a lot of pimples and things and blotchiness and, just uneven color in my face. And so, yeah, just eating a whole food plant-based diet and getting rid of those chemicals and products that were, clogging me up made a huge difference. So,
Totally.
yeah,
Oh, yay. Yeah. Well, similar journeys we've been on with
yeah,
in relationship to all those chemicals.
right. I know. Yes. Let's see. Judith also would like to know, what do you eat in a day, Dr. Susanna?
Oh, wonderful. Well, thanks for asking. I start the day with smoothie. Actually, I really like to start the day with like a quart of tea,
Mm,
like nettle tea or tulsi tea, some nice mineral rich herbal tea. And then I have the smoothie that I already shared. For lunch, most commonly, I will assemble quote unquote a Buddha bowl where I take my batch prepped um, potatoes and maybe quinoa or rice. And there's always some kind of bean prepared. And then I will have that generally with on a bed of leafy greens and maybe some raw vegetables that have been, kind of chopped and prepped ahead of time. I really like to just be able to go to the fridge and then, take a scoop from each container and then put some dressing over it and enjoy it rather than, a longer cooking process for lunch. Because, usually kind of a shorter break in the day. And then generally in the afternoon, if I feel hungry, I will just snack on more potatoes, like steamed or roasted sweet potatoes, really yummy, or fresh fruit also. And dinner always starts off with a little, I say little, but it's actually pretty sizable starter salad. There's usually about at least 3 cups of leafy greens in there with lots of veggies. And all the salad dressings we make at home, they usually are made with a base of seeds or nuts to make kind of creamy. And then dinner varies quite a bit because I actually do like cooking a lot.
mm,
Um, but always includes generally some kind of whole grains, some kind of legume, and also potatoes on the side, and then lots of non-starchy veggies cooked in there too. So for example, like tonight, we're having this Instant Pot meal that's like called unstuffed cabbage rolls, where it's
mm.
a bunch of shredded cabbage and carrots, with brown rice and beans in there and all the spices and things like that. So that's kind of an example. Another example would be like khichdi is one of our favorite staple recipes, in traditional Indian dish made with brown rice and mung beans and lots of vegetables in there. And so that kind of gives you an idea of what we eat. And people are amazed when I talk about eating enough. And they ask, how much do you eat? And I don't nutrition track every day, and I don't promote nutrition tracking every day. However, using a nutrition tracker can be a helpful tool, I think, to kind of establish baseline and just get that feedback, once in a while. How much am I eating and what nutrition is coming in? But usually I'm between 2,500 and 3,000 calories a day. To just kind of give an example of also when we eat this way, in a balanced way with, macronutrients optimally balanced, when we eat enough, the byproduct of that is that the metabolism revs up and becomes more efficient. And that's wonderful because that means more energy production. And we then just, if we are to eat any, quote unquote, excess calories, that's generally just burned off as heat, and doesn't get stored on the body. So, yeah, that's what I eat in a day.
Amazing. I love it. It sounds delicious, and yeah, you're a shining example of what eating this way will result in. So thank you for sharing that.
Oh, well, thank you. Thanks for the question, Judith.
Yes, thank you, Judith. Carl, I think you might have just inadvertently answered Carl's question. He says, would you guys recommend an Instant Pot? I'm unsure. Some people say not to eat beans. Any opinions?
I love the Instant Pot and I love beans,
Me too.
but I am not a raw vegan. And I see the power of a raw vegan diet totally. I think it just depends on you and your health goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally agree. I, you know, I agree, and of course, raw vegan is like my foundation. But over the years, as I've experimented with incorporating some beans and potatoes and things, I've actually found that I kind of just like that. It's more sustainable for me. It's easier. It's easier. So I think if you're looking to make your lifestyle, long term, I think it's best to find something that is the easiest for you to do without sacrificing your health or the benefits. And I think including some consciously cooked food, is what I like to call it, is perfectly healthy. And I don't see any reason to be 100% raw unless it's easy for you to do it. So find what works best for you, and experiment with beans. If you're thinking that you would like to add them, but you hear other people saying you shouldn't, I think the best way to know if it works for you is to experiment with it and see if that feels good. Now, when I first started introducing beans, it did give me some digestive discomfort because I hadn't eaten beans in like several years. So my microbiome was not really equipped to handle that. So you got to start slow with things like beans. But yeah, I enjoy putting them in my salads, and it just gives it some additional variety and just some bulkness and things. So yeah, that's my opinion. Music Monster Man says, let's see, so many raw vegans tell you to eat less food, at least in the cleansing community. So it's easy to get caught up in that mindset. The idea is that eating less causes you less stress and digestion. I think Dr. Susanna kind of addressed that in her last answer, right? I mean,
Yeah, there is definitely the argument that eating less can in some ways promote longevity because there is like less metabolic waste, less metabolic byproducts being created that can lead to less like oxidative damage in the body. And so, there's actually some benefits to having a slower metabolism in that way. Um, However, I I see the power of fasting. I'd say my preferred way to fast would be to have just a good overnight fast that allows your liver to cleanse, all the detoxing and apoptosis to happen. And that window of fasting that's beneficial is going to be different for each individual, I think also. I think there's sometimes people push it a little longer than really is what's best for their body. But yeah, I just see like I feel like I've witnessed a lot of the consequences of not eating enough. And one of the biggest is just going into a nutritional deficiency and also experiencing that fatigue and depletion that can happen. So yeah, that's what my response would be to elaborate a little bit more.
yeah, no, I completely agree. That's spot on. I would say, um, yeah, he followed. He said, so exactly, what exactly is more healing in your opinion about eating more food? I mean, you kind of just,
For me, it's about sustainability.
yeah,
Finding a way to eat whole food, plant-based that you'll stick with, because the healing results um, from eating whole food, plant-based come with consistency. I've experienced it in my body and I see it with my clients. The longer they stick with a truly whole food, plant-based diet, the more benefits they experience in their body and their healing. And so to me, it's just, yeah, it's it's not going to be a healing lifestyle if it's not sustainable and we don't feel good on it. So it's all about finding that balance and making sure you're giving your body what it needs.
Yeah, totally. Um, and like you mentioned, like, yeah, there's a point in time where fasting is beneficial, can be beneficial. And so it's really, that's, I think, kind of what you were alluding to and what you said is that, people get stuck in that long term. And if you're, if you think that just the fasting and calorie restriction is going to support you long term, like those are meant to be done in short spurts, right? Or like intermittently, like not consistently over a long period of time. And I think most people are putting that into their lifestyle as a continuous thing, right? And that's where they're depleting themselves and running short on what they need. So yeah, I mean, like Dr. Susanna said, you got to make it something sustainable, and you got to make sure you're getting in the things that your body needs. Whereas, of course, you can go short periods of time where you're fasting or you're cleansing or something, and that's good. But then you got to make sure that you're replenishing and getting everything that you need. So yeah, just reiterating what you already said. So okay, let's see. Okay, let's see. Extropian Transhuman said, I mainly use aloe vera and shea butter to keep clean. It keeps dirt off and microbes too.
Those
What's
are
going on
two
here?
nice ingredients.
You like those ones?
I like those.
Nice. Um, Judith says, you are so beautiful without makeup. Nice.
Oh, thank you.
Let's see. I hope I didn't skip over it. My chat got kind of glitchy, so let's see. Music Monster Man says, "No makeup gang, let's go."
Oh,
Yes. Okay. What did you use? Oh, Extropian Transhuman asked me what I used to grow in my garden. So, I actually used. So this was many years ago, but I used an organic soil. Or yeah, it was soil, and I used actually horse manure, which I don't think I would do again. But it was from my girlfriend at the time's. Her best friend's family had horses, pet horses, and that's what they used when they would garden, and so that's what we used. I'm not an expert in how to do veganic growing. I mean they weren't like show horses or anything. It was just horses that they had. So I guess maybe I don't know if that would be even be considered veganic, but probably not really. But anyways, that's what we used. We used horse manure. But over the years, I think I've learned that that's probably not ideal. I'm not the best at that sort of thing, so I'm not sure. Do you guys grow a garden? How do you build your soil if you do?
I do not. I'm also not an expert in this area. We only just moved to our new property now where we finally have space for a garden. So,
Okay.
ask me again in a year.
Okay. Perfect. All right. All right. I think we're down to the last maybe question or two. Um, and I apologize if I missed anybody's question. Okay, Music Monster Man says, okay. Oh, never mind. He says you just answered it, so that's great. Okay, I think that's it.
Awesome.
Carl says I'm always so cold, so it will be lovely to have I think the instant pot. So, okay. Oh, I get okay, last one. Jalen says, should we only eat tender greens? you have an opinion on that?
Oh, like I said, am of the mindset of more variety, the better. And I would say, I don't know, maybe this is more of a question for you related to raw vegan eating. Um, I would imagine tender greens being easier to digest than all the roughage and, like some rough kale. But I think the goal with digestion is to really support our digestion, get it to a point where it is so robust that we can handle a nice massaged kale salad if we want to. So I'm in support of enjoying all the greens. What about you?
I'm the same way. I agree with everything you just said. I agree. I think what I've said in the past is it's like some people treat their bodies. So we're given these like ATVs, right? Like these amazing organisms that can, do like go on any terrain, and like you're supposed to use it, right? But most people use it like they've got this like super fragile thing, and some people do at some points. If you have digestive condition that requires that, sure. But when you get to optimal health, and I think that's what we're all striving for. Yeah, I agree. I think I've always included what they call the non-tender greens like kale and collards and things, and I think that's one of the reasons why I've always had this great digestion since I've got into this lifestyle. Because even before I got into this lifestyle, I was eating big salads for a few years. And that just helped me transition into the lifestyle. And I've continued the entire time, including kale and collards and, some of the other non-tender leafy greens that are out there. So, yeah, I understand like natural hygiene promotes eating just tender leafy greens and fruits and things. I mean, if that works for you, then that's great. But I also agree that getting the variety of different greens and actually using the digestive system that you were given to its full capacity, I think is a great idea. So, yeah, that would be my opinion as well. All right. Well, terrific. This was incredible. I really enjoyed having you on, Dr. Susanna. And everybody out there, I should have mentioned this before, but definitely go check out. So I've got all of her links in the description box of this video. Check out their podcast. I love your podcast. I just discovered your podcast. I don't know how I missed it, but I started looking through it. You got a lot of episodes in there for one, but really great content. I loved it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. We've taken a little bit of a break from adding new podcast episodes, but Dr. Ben was just saying a few weeks ago that he's feeling ready to get back into it. So,
Nice.
but it's true. We got like over 300 episodes there. So
Yeah.
that should keep you busy for a while if you head over.
For sure. Yeah. So yeah, guys, the link is in the description box. Be sure to go check that out. And let's quick before we log off here, I'm just gonna do the giveaway. So I'm just gonna scroll through the chat and let my mouse do the picking, and we'll see who is the winner today. It is Judith. Judith, congratulations. All right, Judith, send me an email at matt@myrawintuition.com and you will get, you might already have all of my ebooks, I'm not sure, but you can get a copy of one of those if you don't have any of them. You'll also get the coupon code for Daily Green Boost if you'd like it. And then also you're going to get a free bottle of Dr. Susanna and Dr. Ben's new green powder when it comes out. So incredible. So you're going to have your green powders, you're going to have your books, you can wake up, read a book, and have some green water or something in your smoothie. So congratulations. Thanks again, Dr. Susanna, for offering that. Very generous and super excited. Everybody, be sure you go follow Alter Health on Instagram, and Dr. Ben Alter as well on Instagram, Benjamin Alter, for some great content and health inspiration and just healthy lifestyle education. So yeah, any last words before we log off for the day?
Oh, I'm just so grateful for the invitation to join this conversation. It was so much fun, and I just love your dedication to sharing so much information and hosting so many amazing guests on your accounts. And it's just great work that you're doing. So keep it up. It's
Thank
amazing.
you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And it can only happen with amazing guests like you. So I appreciate your time and all the effort you've put into, getting so educated and becoming a naturopathic doctor and helping people, really understand the truth about getting healthy. So thank you. And Alter Health, everybody out there, Alter Health has different programs, and you can do consults, and there's a lot of great resources over there. So again, check out the link in the description box, and again, follow them on social media. All right.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
yes, thank you. And everybody out there, thanks again for being here again on this Sunday with us. Come back next week, same time, same place, and we will have another fantastic show. And until then, always follow your raw intuition.